Welcome to the Bubblewrap podcast. I'm Ashley Walker from HSE Advice UK, and we're here to protect your business and make safety pop.
You're on.
We're back.
Episode 5 we're on.
Yeah.
Is it episode 5?
It is episode 5.
Ooh. It's going too quickly actually, doing our recording. Anyway, welcome to episode 5. Just before we start, we keep getting distracted by the football match out the back.
Yeah,
sorry.
like
People
that.
won't be interested. Well, they'll be listening to this on Spotify thinking, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Only if you get to watch. We're at Morecambe Football Club again today, and there's a training match on, and we keep thinking, right, let's ready to record, and then we're turning back round, like, ooh. So you might be able to see and hear them. But actually, it's really good, isn't it, on this squeaky chair?
Yeah, I know.
Tom's going to be like, oh God, get that squeak out. Anyway, right, so today's topic.
Go on.
I want to talk about occupational health and wellbeing.
Oh, okay.
So not so much as issues I've found or different things, but I think it's a really important topic for us to talk about. Mental health all the way to musculoskeletal, injuries in the workplace. It's not all just about safety, is it?
No.
I know they're very much interlinked, but you think health and safety, people just think of hard hats, PPE, walking around with a clipboard. It's just so much more than that, especially the health aspect.
Well, yeah, it's part and parcel of health and safety, really, isn't it? Because health and safety covers all aspects of safety, and if you're, sort of mental health safety as well. If you're doing something that's, going to be damaging to your mental health, it's going to affect you and your safety and other people's safety.
Yeah.
So they do interlink in one way or another.
Yeah. And it's interesting talking to people about it because there's like trends, isn't there? There's certain trends that come out that people talk about. Flavour of the month might be something else, and there was a big I saw an upward trend maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, people starting to talk about mental health. Mm-hmm. Throughout all of my career, I've noticed me being an observer and empathetic, I try and listen to people, get their thoughts and feelings, and I can see generally when people are suffering, but it's learning the tools. You can see someone suffering, but what do you do?
Yeah.
Quite a few years ago, I did the mental health first aid course when it first came out, and it was an intense course.
I've heard it's really
it was
intense.
Brutal,
yeah.
And you learned so much stuff. But the tools that gave you was second to none. I would never, I'd do that course again. I know it was intense, but yeah, I'd definitely do that course again.
I've heard it's really intense. I know people that have done it and they've said they've come out, almost in tears. But not because it's traumatizing, but when they realise that that's what people go through, it's a wave of empathy that sort of overcomes them.
And how often, and it's still, well, of course it's still a big thing now, especially in men. We were talking before, with Tom about men speaking about their feelings and learning and doing training. And it's, even getting some, especially sort of a younger man to talk about his feelings. Yeah. Even in this day and age, it's still...
Yeah, it's one of those things. As you said, it started to get a little better, and I haven't seen too much about it recently. So it might have fallen off the radar a little bit. But then again, it might be elsewhere, somewhere that we might not be looking. It might be targeting a lot of young people on things like TikTok.
Yeah.
Whereas our generations probably still use Facebook.
Well, actually, I'm obsessed with TikTok.
Yeah, no, I am, but I think...
That's a problem.
Yeah.
Scroll.
I could doom scroll for hours. It's
addictive.
But I think that's where, obviously, a lot of young people are targeted, for that sort of, learn to speak up, learn to talk, about your mental health and about other issues, not just, sort of mental health, but other sort of social issues they might have that could be affecting them or people they know.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably where you know, we're seeing less of it on things like Facebook and YouTube and, you know, those sort of social media platforms. It's now more on the younger generation's platforms.
Yeah.
But which is still a good thing.
It is still a good thing.
I would, personally, I'd like to see it more in business.
Well, that's the thing is, so I did my Masters 2017 in workplace health and wellbeing. You know, did research projects and understood the stats back then, and it was very much businesses, you know, we're looking into potentially strategies for health and wellbeing, different things. But through my research, a lot I found was, well, we give everyone a fruit bowl on a Friday.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
What's that going to do?
Yeah.
It's not even a proper health kick or whichever. But I think the business side of things is understanding the root causes, and it goes back to, you know, investigating accidents, investigate people's time off. Do you have a trend where you've got sickness absence, prolonged sickness absence due to maybe stress, depression, anxiety, or are people regularly taking a day here and there? And looking at those trends where people don't, and they just think, oh, we're going to bring in this well-being idea, we're going to, you know, do these different things, but they're really they are helpful, and I'd see them more as an employee benefit to their well-being, not looking at the root cause and the underlying cause of what's going on.
Yeah.
So again, I've got some stats.
Go on.
I love my stats at the moment. Right, so last year, 1.8 million workers suffered from work-related ill health.
Wow.
Now that's all ill health, we're not just talking about mental health. But 49% suffered stress, depression or anxiety.
Wow.
So that's considerable amount of people off work for stress, depression and anxiety. Now this is work-related ill health.
Yeah.
Now say for example, an individual suffers from depression and has done throughout their life.
Yeah.
That's not included in this. This is work-related. So being at work has caused stress, depression or anxiety.
Yeah, well, that makes sense.
And that's not on.
No. No, it's not.
It's not on. No. But like, how do you, I could put it to the audience, please send us some comments or, you know, ideas of what you think it is, but like, how do you get to that underlying root cause? You've got to do a review and you've got to be brutally honest.
Do you know what? I think, and I'm gonna speak from experience here. You know, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I've suffered mental ill health before, and I've taken time out of work for depression, and it was a horrible time in my life, and you know, it was absolutely awful to go through. The causes were caused by external factors outside of work.
Okay, yeah.
Work then perpetuated it.
Okay.
So at the time I worked on a reception desk.
Yeah.
So I had to come in feeling like the way I felt and put on the fake smile. And then at the end of the day I was drained. Absolutely just rinsed of just energy, emotion. I'd sit on the train or the tram going home just dead-faced.
In a daze.
And it got to me after a while, and there was a crash, and you know, therapy.
Where fatigue sets in.
Exactly. So it was a very difficult time in my life, where work, if there was something in place, someone could have identified it. I'm not saying, you know, well, I wish someone would have helped me, but it's one of those things where someone who is going through that could have identified, or it could have been identified earlier. Yeah. And work then not, you know, sort of add to that problem and add to that issue.
Yeah. So that's risk assessment to me.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, we've obviously advised people if they have an employee suffering from a medical condition. Yeah. Mental health, physical health, something, they need a risk assessment for that individual, because you need to make reasonable adjustments for that individual. I'm not just talking about HR, you know, you have to go through that process and get that employee's input. I think people just forget, and they try and maybe pussyfoot around it, or they don't quite know what to do. And then that employee suffers.
Well, yeah, I remember talking to my manager about it and trying to explain to her that, you know, I'm going to therapy.
Yeah.
You know, it's a once a week thing.
Yeah.
She was great, you know.
Yeah.
She was like, yeah, no, take all the time you need. You know, I took about 3 weeks out of work to just sort of decompress.
Recover,
basically.
Yeah.
But there was still that kind of, you know, I don't know how to handle this.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you know, I don't know what the next step. Yeah. And I, by no means do I blame her at all, because at that time I didn't know. And I think at that point, you know, well, this is going back quite a few years now, so a lot of people didn't know what to do. It was only really come into the light that mental health is an issue, you know, and we should be doing more. But there was that issue where she didn't know what to do, and it was like, right, okay, well, if you need 5 minutes, just let me know. You know, so the support was there, but it wasn't right.
I suppose that's the training aspect. It's back to training. If that manager's equipped with the tools and knowledge of how to respond, then it might have been a different scenario. But I think businesses don't generally tend to think about that and preparation for that.
I think it's still, you know, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. Type of thing.
And I know that's a reactive sort of method there, but you can be proactive in preparing for it. And again, you can be proactive in looking for those trends to nip them in the bud straight away. You know, it could be pressures for time, workload, bullying, harassment can come into it, you know. I've been in workplaces before where there's been a shocking like culture with, you know, that sort of aggressive banter type. I do like good banter at work, you know. I've worked on construction sites for years, and it was never a construction site that had a problem. It was more the office bitchiness sometimes.
Clicky type
places. Click,
yeah.
I think we've spoken about being in cliques before, but you know, you're at work more than you are at home, you know, these days. And you need to make sure it's a really positive working environment.
Absolutely.
But sometimes, and you know, sometimes people make excuses, go, oh, well, we do this. You know, we're not that type of industry where we can, it's like, no, that's bullshit. You can make a positive working environment, whatever sector you're in, whatever business size, you know. It's just making sure everyone's engaged, you know, trained with the knowledge, not just providing a fruit bowl on a Friday.
I think it's partly, obviously there's providing that training, but there's also just that awareness, because, you know, there may be some people in a business who might not want to do the mental health first aid or anything like that. But at least if you provide them with awareness, you know, some form of e-learning, or, you know, even just a toolbox talk, you know, in a Monday morning briefing or something.
Just to raise.
It could do sort of the world of good, you know, and it will just get them thinking and sort of switch them on a little bit more to what's going on, you know. I think that's a way to handle it, you know. There's many ways.
I mean, even like, a toolbox talk or a briefing on what to spot, those signs to spot. There was that advert that came out recently, actually being at a football match. It was did you see it, the two guys at a football match?
Yes.
And you just assumed it was one of the guys who had the issue.
Yeah, because he was quite miserable.
But it was the opposite, wasn't it? And that, like, whoa.
Yeah, that hit hard.
Shock factor. And, you know, people understanding that it's scary, really, sometimes. But anyway, you've got a success story, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a.
Tell me about your success story.
So it's a safety success story based around mental health, and it's from a well-known UK corporation, BT.
Oh right, okay, very large company.
So just a bit back, a couple little stats for BT. They've got 100,000 employees.
Whoa.
Over 170 countries.
Holy crap!
So
you don't realise that?
No,
I didn't. That's pretty major.
Well, no, and you think British Telecoms,
Oh, over in other countries.
There'll just be but
they own a lot of the network.
Yeah.
Is it Openreach own a lot of it?
Yeah, Openreach.
Yeah.
So you can imagine obviously this massive scale corporation and organisation. They had challenges, or they identified challenges with engagement and involvement from their employees.
Yeah.
Especially around mental health, and they wanted to address that and address the well-being issues that are affecting employees.
Okay.
How do you do that? With 100,000 people across 170 countries.
Yeah.
It's
not just doing a quick review, is it?
No, you're definitely not going to do that overnight.
No.
It's not going to be, we'll send an email out and everyone's hunky-dory.
Yeah.
So, they all got together, and all the leaders of the business, and they hashed it out, and they came up with a strategy.
Fab.
And some of the solutions, so I've got the solutions written down here, because there's no way I'm going to remember all of these. And as I was reading this, I was just getting more and more impressed with what they were doing and the commitment they were putting into it.
Right.
So part of the solutions was to get them involved. That was the aim, but it was also the solution as well, in terms of, how can we get them involved? Let's get them involved to change for the better.
Oh, right,
If that makes sense.
So it's not like just a management team deciding on a strategy and going, right, we're doing this. It was the opposite. It was bringing.
Let's bring everyone in, get everyone involved. Have their say.
Yeah.
It's their workplace.
Makes them feel empowered.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They worked a lot with the safety reps.
Yeah.
So.
They're like the way in, aren't they?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So they were the people that would. That they'd talk to, and that they'd pass the message down to the to the teams, and they implemented wellbeing leads in each area of the business.
Right.
And I thought that was fantastic, having different wellbeing leads.
Yeah.
To support and
that message.
To also reinforce it as well in that specific sector of the business, and I thought that's fantastic.
Yeah.
They raised this really impressed me, actually. So they raised awareness of mental health issues via their internal radio, internal TVs, and internal magazines.
Oh,
and
they have an internal radio and TV. Of course, they have an internal radio and TV, because that's they would need to with that many people in countries.
And I thought that was fantastic. That they're utilising what they've already got.
Yeah, and it's just being embedded. Yeah,
and it's I'd say it probably didn't take any effort. I imagine it did.
Oh yeah.
But, it's not taken as much effort as you would think it would have to take to get that message across. Because if it's all internal anyway, it's just simply a case of can we do this on the radio, or can we put a message out on the TV, or can we do this on in the magazine? Nice and simple.
Yeah.
And then they followed up with a survey 3 months later after this sort of safety or this mental health campaign that they ran that involved all of that. They followed up with a survey. And I got results from that survey, which is 68% of the people who took that survey learned something new about ways to look after their own mental health. Which I thought was great.
That's really good. Definitely.
51% noticed an improved mental health being within themselves.
No, 51%. Bloody hell.
I thought
that's really good uptake.
Great results.
Yeah.
Absolutely great results.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty impressive. You think how big they are, like how much effort that would have taken.
Well, yeah.
But they took it seriously.
Well, the strategy they went for was they wanted to reduce stress at source, which is what we were saying earlier.
Yeah.
They also wanted to reduce the stress through the job design as well.
Right, even better.
Because
that's mostly where it stems from.
A lot of places, I think a lot of workplace mental health issues do stem from the way
the pressure.
The job is designed. Have you got too much pressure? Are you under extreme time?
Pressure, though, there's a fine line between good pressure
Yes.
and bad pressure.
Of course.
See, I like good pressure because it keeps me energetic and wanting to do my work, and and I need a deadline.
Yeah.
But when you have too much going on, that's when you go onto the other side. It's that fine line, isn't it?
It's as you say, it's a bit of a balancing act, really, isn't it? But, they also, the part of the strategy is they're identifying early signs of stress and supporting those individuals. So it's about, again, that support and that training to spot those signs.
Yeah.
Support and helping other people recover from the stress.
Oh, okay.
So it's not just let's prevent it.
Yeah.
It's okay that
we're going to help you.
Your stress or your mental health condition was, unpreventable for whatever reason.
Yeah.
We're going to support you.
Wow.
And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this was over a 5-year period. So
right.
In the past 5 years, abstinence related to mental health problems has fallen by 30%. I thought, great going.
Yeah.
Good results.
Because you still will have days.
Of course.
Everyone does. No one can be perfect, and happy. And I think I'm a positive person, but there's some days you just I just want to stay in bed all day and watch TV.
I think we're all like, I still get the day, the odd days here and there where I'm in a bit of a downer and I'm like, right, okay, but I've got to get up and got to go to work and I've got to go and do this.
But human.
Yeah, exactly. It happens.
Yeah.
80% of the people off work for 6 months or more have now returned to work.
80%?
Before it was only 20%.
Wow.
So I thought, that's fantastic going from BT.
Yeah.
I was impressed.
You've got to think
impressed.
back as well, like how much it costs a business for people being off sick.
Yeah.
Even if it's, physical as well. 80%, so that's a change. 80% of people coming back now. Just think of all that operation and the costs attached will be well down.
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah. So that first investment, and then they're seeing payback.
But you can see that there was a clear strategy there where they didn't just want to make people aware. They didn't just want to prevent.
Yeah.
They wanted to make people aware, prevent,
the whole
support,
circle.
And as you say, it's almost like a management system.
Well, Plan, do, check, act.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what they've gone for, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And
that's that's pretty amazing, really.
Good on them, that's what I can say.
So takeaways from that then, what we want to say to business owners is understand your trends.
Yep.
Are people off sick? Are people suffering?
Yep.
Can you relate to your workforce? Can you openly ask them? And is there people there to support? And then can you plan a strategy to a bit like that? Even on a really small scale, if it's an SME, you can still do the same thing.
Yeah. I think as well, to add to that, can you get them engaged?
Oh yeah.
Can you involve them? Where can you involve them?
Yeah.
I think that's. I think at any level business, at any whether you've got 5 employees or 500 employees.
Yeah.
Involve your staff.
There's still stuff you can do.
Yeah.
Totally.
Involve them.
Yeah.
And they'll thank you for it.
Yeah, they will. Yeah. Right, cracker, that was a really good session.
Yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Right, I'm going to get back to my football now.
Well, I think I've not seen any goals.
No. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.
Thank you for joining us today. If you enjoyed our episode, please subscribe to our channel. All links to our social media are in the description below, and if you have any questions, please leave a comment or message us. Bubblewrap, to protect your business.